Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I'm here to talk to you about all things reading, writing, and publishing. I feel like it has been forever since I've gotten to talk to you guys. If you celebrate Easter, then happy Easter weekend. If you don't, I hope you had a lovely weekend and I'm so glad to be here because today we are going to talk about first drafts. Now I know a lot of you are writing for NaNoWriMo, which is going on this month. If you don't know, NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It's usually held in November where you try to draft 50,000 words of your book in one go throughout the month. Now Camp NaNoWriMo is a little bit different. Camp goes on through April right now and it's more relaxed. It's definitely more low-key. You can set your own goals, whatever word count you want to do, different projects, that sort of thing. But I thought I would talk about first drafts since a lot of people are starting first drafts of different books. Now this is specifically more for people who have never written a first draft before and they're just starting a brand new project, but it's definitely just cool to talk about the process and see how everything is different for everyone. So if you look at my Camp NaNoWriMo profile, it says my goal is, I believe, 80 or 90,000 words. That's my overall goal for the entire book. I don't plan to finish this book until the end of May, so I don't know if I'll actually get to that goal by the end of April. I'm hoping just to make good headway into it, maybe 40 or 50,000 words, so I can kind of divide it up throughout the 2 months. Okay, so we are on day 5 of NaNoWriMo, so that's super exciting. We're almost a week in. I have written here and there. I haven't written a whole lot so far. I know a lot of people have. For me, I just don't write very much throughout the week, so you know, it's touch and go, but I've been really having fun with this draft. This draft is the first draft of the Robin Whip that I'm writing, and it's very much different than the first draft of my Summer Whip. For this one, I'm not planning everything in depth like I did for the Summer Whip. I'm usually a plotter. I love sitting down and working chapter by chapter to know everything that's going to happen before I start writing because I usually find that it's easier. With Robin Whip, I'm not doing that. I have plot points and I know where everything's gonna go, but I don't have everything written down chapter by chapter. And so a lot of my writing is just picking a scene I really want to write and then just running with it. I feel like that's working out a lot better as far as getting in the groove of writing and staying excited about it. But it's also helping me get to know my characters more as, you know, without plotting so much in advance, I feel like I don't know the characters as well, which is fine. Because this is kind of like an exploration draft. You know, some people talk about draft 0, which is where you just write the story for you and you write to get to know the story and the characters, and that's really what this is. So you have a story idea, you've sat down, you thought about how you want to structure it and what story you want to write, you've maybe plotted it or at least come up with an idea of a story you want to tell. Now what? Now you sit down and write. And that seems like it should be so easy, doesn't it? But it's really not, and a lot of people are going to give you the advice just to sit down and write. Just don't. Find your process first. So here's some tips and tricks for writing that first draft and finally conquering it. So here's the secret. You don't have to overthink the beginning. If you're like me, then the hardest part is getting started. I have such a hard time sitting down and writing and figuring out where I want to begin that once I start going and I actually do it, it gets a lot easier. And so I always give people the advice, don't overthink the beginning. Think about where you would normally start your story and then start it 10 pages later. Get right into the action of it because that's going to pull you in quicker. And it's also going to pull your readers in quicker. It's going to get you this momentum to start writing while also doing something for your story. Now, of course, you can always go back and edit the beginning or edit any part of your story. And that's the whole point. You don't have to worry about the first draft being clean. You don't have to worry about being perfect. It's okay for it to be messy because you're getting to know the story. The story is coming to you and you're figuring it out as much as you're figuring out how to write it. First drafts are going to change. Your second and your third draft are going to look nothing like this one right now. The important thing is to actually get the story on the page. And you know, that's a cliche old saying, but you really can't make a story until you have something on the page. Once you get it down, half your work's done. You're already starting to climb the mountain. And make sure to celebrate little milestones as much as the big ones too. You write 500 words in one go when you've really been struggling, right? Celebrate that. If you're writing a chapter a day or a chapter a week, celebrate that. Celebrate every single accomplishment you go through in this draft because that's going to push you forward. And you know, this is such a selective process, and it can be really isolating. Like I've said, I've relied on the online communities a lot, and there's not a lot of support in my day-to-day life for writing. So really, you have to reach out to people that understand what you're going through and celebrate that with you, because those people that uplift you are going to uplift your work too. And that is the greatest feeling in the world, when you have friends that are cheering you on and that understand writing as much as you do. And on that note, be flexible. Just know that your writing is going to change and your process is going to change as you go about writing this first draft. It's okay if you have a routine and then halfway through you decide you don't like that routine anymore and you want to change it. Or if you're writing every day and that works for you, and then you decide you want to write every week instead. That's fine. You have to be flexible with yourself, and you have to give yourself the creative freedom to be able to change and grow with the process as well as with your writing. And that's really all there is to it. Another thing I always like to say is that this is the framework of the house that you're building. You don't need to worry about the insulation, you don't need to worry about the decor, you don't need to worry about how it's going to look when people come in and visit. Just build a frame, and everything else in your second, third, and fourth draft, or however many you end up writing, that's going to add on everything else. You can go through and add different things as you go back and write it. The first draft is the framework. It's getting that story down, and I really can't stress that enough. Another thing is, make sure that you have friends around you that are supportive of what you're doing and supportive of your writing. I know I've always said this before, but the writing community online is really a great place to start if you don't have those people in your day-to-day life. I've met so many good friends through Twitter and through Instagram and connecting with the writing communities on there, so that's definitely a huge help, is having that support network. And just remember that you're not alone. You're not the only person in the world that's written the first draft. Someone else has gone through this process too, and someone else knows what it's like, so reach out. I am more than happy to talk to you about first drafts and talk to you about your process, because everyone has a different way of doing it. What I'm telling you now might not work for you, and that's completely okay. It's all about finding what works for you and what's best for you and your story. So if you've written a first draft, comment below and let me know how that went and what your process is like. Or if you're writing one now, reach out and tell me what you're doing, what works and doesn't work for you. I would love to talk to you. As always, if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, or comment, or connect with me on Twitter and Instagram. My links will be in the description below. I am so glad we got to talk about first drafts. I'm so excited to see what comes next. As always, stay safe, stay well, and stay radiant. I will see you next weekend. Bye, loves!